Morning, economists. My name is Neil Slotnick. I'm one of the economics teachers here at Leighton. Some of you I teach, some of you I have taught, some of you I will never teach. But anyway, I'm one of the economics teachers. And what I said I'd do is a series of four videos. I lost my trail of thought there. Just going through kind of essay structure, examiners' reports, and kind of how to maximise every single type of question. In terms of examiners' reports, we'll go through a few questions. They're so long, they're like 70 pages. That will be a 2-hour long video. Anyway, whether you're year one or year two, I'm just going to explain this very generally. Year ones may not yet have heard of chains of reasoning. Year twos, I would hope, would have done. But I'll take this on a very general level, so this will hopefully appeal to both year one and year two students. What the plan is that we're going to go through chains of reasoning on this first video. We're then going to look at structures and think about maximizing performance on a 25 marker, which you will all be experiencing. And then the last video is going to be looking at, as I said, the examiner's report. So let us kick things off. Before we even think about what a paper looks like, what structures need to happen per paragraph, I want to think about how we can craft just one paragraph. And we do that in economics with chains of reasoning. So this grid here, and I'll put up, on my classroom certainly, and I'll send your teachers these resources as well. This is the kind of way that we should be thinking for one paragraph only. So if you've got to answer, say, a 25-mark question, and there's going to be 4 core paragraphs, you're going to do this process, and I'll go through that in a minute, and then you're going to do it 3 more times. So what do I mean by chains of reasoning? What examiners want to see in an analytical or an evaluative paragraph is that you can take a point and then you can build that point. It's a bit like GCSEs. What examiners don't want to see is one paragraph with maybe like 5 or 6 separate points. You want to take one thing and develop it. By doing that, we're giving depth of answer, we're giving depth of answer, we're not giving breadth. Breadth meaning I'm going to tell you 10 things that I know about, I don't know, productivity or whatever. So in order to get this done, what we want to do, you start off your first paragraph. So the first line of the paragraph will be signposting the key point. Okay, you're simply, so if the question is about evaluate the use of a certain policy to increase productivity, and you're going to say, I don't know, if we were to invest more money into capital and reduce spending on labour, this will start to increase productivity of firms. Simply speaking, that will be your first line. In my view, in order to increase productivity for country X, we should be making it easier for firms to be able to invest in capital technology. Okay. You then want to cite a piece of evidence. Now, this is your PE. So if you think about it again, there's this kind of PEAL system that you would have used in schools: point, evidence, explain, and link. So far, we're not really chaining anything up. Your evidence, it says here application and examples. Now, for every question other than the 25 marker, you will have extracts available to you. Don't forget, use of evidence is not just copying evidence down. It could be manipulating data. So if you've got, say, productivity figures for the United Kingdom, what you might want to do is calculate a percentage change. So you can say, if we increase spending on capital technology, we might see a 7% increase in productivity levels. Therefore, you're not just simply copying down productivity figures, you're using those figures to help craft your argument. Other times, of course, it might, quite often I see in essays, as the extract says, you may then quote maybe one sentence, okay? But you then need to be making use of that. What we don't want to see is just huge chunks of copying out, because obviously the examiners write this paper, or the examiner, chief examiner, writes this paper. They don't want to read what has been written already. We move on to the explain then, and what we're talking about here is this is where we really build those chains. The way I see this is like a snowball. If you are on the top of a hill and it's full of snow, and you make a little snowball and you roll it down the hill, it starts small, but as it gains speed, it gains more snow, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Sounds ridiculous, I know, but what we're going to do, we're going to state our main concept or theory. So you're going to say that you signposted your key point. If it's easier to invest in capital and technology and machinery, productivity will increase for country X or for the United Kingdom. You can then, link that to kind of an economic theory. For me, productivity is all about the supply side. We're thinking about supply side economics, increasing long-run aggregate supply. So if firms can invest in more technology, the main concept here is, due to this, we may well see LRAS growth or GDP growth or an expansion of the PPF for those in year one at the moment, because there's more resources available. Chain one is to explain the initial premise. You're basically saying, well, why does the PPF grow as there's more resources? You're explaining the theory. Chain two, nothing wrong with dropping in a definition there. If you're talking about productivity, you've explained your initial premise. You could then think about perhaps defining something. What is aggregate supply? What is a PPF? Chain three there, it says integrate a diagram. This is the only, this sheet was given to me via Tutor to You. This is the only chain that I don't always agree with. Yes, you need diagrams. So for the year two students, enough diagrams. For year one students, think about it. At the moment, from what I've taught you and probably your other teachers have taught you, maybe a bit of demand, maybe supply, I don't know. But certainly on my side, the only diagram we've really done is the PPF. I don't think that you need a diagram for every single paragraph. So I do somewhat disagree with that chain three, okay? I'm not saying don't ever draw a diagram, but I'm just saying you need to think a bit logically. Your diagram should back up a point. Don't just draw a diagram and leave it there for no reason. If we then ignore chain three, for example, and say that we don't integrate a diagram, you've got chain one, explaining the initial premise. Chain two, whacking in a bit of a definition. Chain 4 and 5 are your furthermores. And so you don't really want to be seen in one analytical paragraph a however point, because that shows the examiner that you're starting to kind of contradict or evaluate your point. But yeah, furthermore, and so, therefore, any of those kind of nice little connectives are going to be very useful. We then obviously have our L section. We're going to take what we've said and link back to the question. Don't forget to reread the question before you write your linking back paragraph, and the paragraph has to perfectly address the question. So that's how we recommend chaining up one paragraph. You then do this as many times as the next video is going to show you in terms of structure. And I said, just, have a little think about that chain three. Do you need a diagram? If you need a diagram, please put in a diagram. But I don't think you need one diagram per paragraph. I think that Tutor to You may be going a little bit overboard there. Anyway, hope you found that useful. I'll see you on video 2 for actual structuring.